Well, looky here. What's up, folks? Seth here, Plastic. Seth here, Plastic Galaxy Toy Store. How's everybody doing today on this fine Friday? You know, we're having a live sale tonight, which is kind of interesting because we usually have our live sales on Thursday, but I kind of got back in town late. I had a couple errands to run and whatnot, so therefore we didn't have one last night. So we just moved it to today, which is great because I got to end up getting some new items in as well today. So there you have it. Hope you guys are doing well. Good Friday afternoon to Brian. Thank you, Brian. Appreciate the comment there. Hope everybody is doing wonderful today. Wonderful. And like I said, tonight doing a live sale. All kinds of some brand new items, some other cool stuff as well. Short and sweet, less than an hour as usual. Get you on your way. I would say go out and go to a movie or whatever, but obviously that does probably apply. But having said that, get you out of there as quick as possible and move on about your day. So hope you guys are doing well. Let me know in the comment section below how you're doing, and have you started navigating your way out in the real world, or if not, if you're just staying home, what are you guys up to? Anything special? Let's see here. Let me double check this. Oh, my thing's not even open, so I couldn't even see that. What's that? There we go. Boom. Got that. Let's see right here. Let's go over here. Let's go here. Let's go here. Okay. There we are. Answer your question, man. It was all right. Kind of hit or miss this time of year, just like everything else. But at work on a lunch break, apartment construction is still essential. Well, there you have it. Cool, Brian. Good. It's awesome you're keeping busy. Storm chasing. Like I said, hit or miss this time of year. Especially kind of had some, it's not exact science anyway, but it was okay. I went out the other day for a little bit. It was, I'm really, at my older age, I used to when I was younger, I'd get in the car if I saw a freaking cloud that looked funny. You know what I mean? I mean, back in the day. Obviously, since then, I've kind of chiseled down to, like, try to make things more of a important day, go out kind of a thing. But there'll be some extra days coming up for sure. I look forward to doing that stuff. Kobe says, have you gotten into Black Series? No, but stand by on that because we have all that stuff on pre-order. I ordered it when it was first solicited to me, I guess earlier this year, or late last year, whenever it was. So all that stuff is coming in and will be coming in, so stand by. And like with all modern stuff, we only order like a certain allotment, then we don't make second orders just because sometimes they can take 6 months to a year to get in, and by that time it's just like, pretty much everybody has them that wants them usually, so it's just kind of like I will make one order on modern stuff, and that's it. Because we're mainly a vintage store, really, what we sell, but we do like selling the newer stuff as well because it is, it's kind of fun and it's different, right? It's not the kind of stuff that you see all the time out there. Yes, GT, 7 p.m. tonight. You are correct, sir. That's what we're doing. 7 p.m. Central. CDT. Central Daylight Time or Central Dilly-Dally Time, whatever you wanted, however you wanted to note that. Let's see what we got here. Hope that answered your question there. Then between this week and next week, we have a lot of cool stuff. Well, I'm looking at a short-term forecast, obviously, but lots of cool stuff coming in. We're finally getting caught up on a lot of people that have been looking to sell over the last month or so. So we've been able to kind of catch up with that because, obviously, it's one of those situations where you can't be everywhere at once. And we've caught up with that, so we're working on a few other things as well. We have stuff coming in this week, next week, and then also I said this week, this coming week, and next week as well, and then the following months with new stuff, and you just never know. It's always fun. Always, it's never a dull moment. Howdy, Tony Johnson. Hope you're doing well over there in YouTube land. So we got YouTube and Facebook all represented. That's wonderful. Love it. Love it. Love it. And everybody, just so we're on the same page. Everyone that I've spoken to directly, whether it be messaging or through the store, has all. The general consensus was that YouTube was night and day better. So I would, if you're on the fence on that decision, I would highly recommend you use YouTube. But hey, is what it is. Death Star, Tony Johnson, the Death Star. Oh no! Oh, and that Georgia group. No. I haven't. Yeah, I'm still working on that thing, which is that. It's a large thing. It's interesting. So no, I'm still kind of in the process of working. As a matter of fact, I need to. I'm working on something. I need to write that down. Because I was like, "What are you talking about, Death Star?" Okay, yeah, I'll get back. Yeah, it's just I've been just bombarded with all kinds of stuff. There's other stuff that's been coming up that's really cool for sale here and there, and I'm just like, it's just, ugh, So, try to be everywhere at once would be great. Wish I could have caught you when you were brick and mortar. Yeah, Bruce, that was like over about a year ago. That's all right. That's all right, Tony. Wish I could have caught you. Yeah, I have my days when I kind of miss that, but then the majority of the days I don't. So for those that don't know, we had a brick and mortar store for almost 5 years, 4 years, 5 years, whatever it was, and the lease was up. So it was either staying there 3 or 4 years or whatever it was going to be for the lease, or we'd already started doing the live stuff several years ago, and that's kind of been our mainstay since then. So we decided just like. It made much more sense to just do it from home. We have the outlook. We have people. Sourcing items wasn't necessarily a problem. I mean, it's always there, trying to find stuff. But it was no more difficult than I was doing anyway. So, and the main thing was, after being at the helm of the store, physically having to get up every morning and go in and all that stuff. It wasn't like there was traffic coming in there every day. I did have traffic, but my point is that you sit up there for 8 hours a day and just kind of staring at the walls. There's not a whole lot to do. So my biggest thing was I like the flexibility. I didn't like to be locked in up there to where if I wanted to go do something, I had to close the store. Then I get bitched at online saying I wasn't open, which is a fair complaint. Although I don't know if I would necessarily bitch at somebody online about it, but I get the complaint. So it was just like, man, I've been doing stuff live, and I was like, I'll just take it with me in my studios and stuff. So that's what I did, and it's worked out great, and I'm glad that we've been able to have an outlet to do that. So there you go, Bruce. Hope that answered your question. It's been a real easy thing, but also it's still work. I mean, I'm never off. I'm always answering messages or trying to, or was traveling, but as soon as we start kind of filtering into more travelable, is that a word, situations, I'll definitely be out there on the road again in the old bus and coming to a town near you. So it'll be a lot of fun. I'm itching to do that because I love, people just sending me stuff in the mail, but I love hitting places up, toy stores, people's collections. I love doing that. I love being out, on the road, seeing the trees and also enjoying life. When you're out there, you can go stop and smell the roses a little bit. You can do something. So there you have it. There's my take. My strategy when I never really thought about things as far as a strategy. I'm never ever running out of things. I think it's more of I don't know if I have a strategy. It's a mental feel. It's like a feel thing. It'd be like if you're in a car, right? And you've had your car for 20 years, and you know how it feels, and you know when something's going wrong or something's going good. It's like that balance that, well, if I take a risk here, take a risk there, that whole comfortability is what, I go off of. I don't necessarily go off of like, well, if I've got this amount of inventory in store versus this amount on hand, this coming in, I'm going to set this mathematical equation, which would probably be the smart thing to do. But I use just kind of just my instinct, and that sounds scary, but that's what I do. Well, thank you, Scotty. I appreciate that. Adult beverages. What's your so that's my. I don't really have my strategies. I don't have one. My strategy is it's a feel thing, I never pass up anything that's good. That I know I can do something with. Obviously within reason. Somebody offered me a prop use like lightsaber for $300,000. While that may be a good deal, that's not exactly something that's I'm going to be going after. You know what I mean? So it's just a feel thing. I think is the best way I can describe it. I don't have a general, and also day by day. Some days you just don't want to mess with it. Some days you do, and I don't know. It's a good question though. I just don't have a great answer for it. Pup for tonight. Great wish for the weekend. PGS Lives, Plastic PSG live sale, and some adult beverages. That's good. I feel like that's a common theme, which is fine. Makes it fun. Like I said, I'll get to you in a second, just Brian. A lot of people contact me and they'll throw this feed up on their 4K television or whatever to watch on YouTube, their YouTube, which is a great idea. Give me 1 second. Actually, I got post come right now. 1 second. Sorry about that. So the question, the question was, most popular franchise for collectors, Star Wars. Oh, without a doubt. And this is, I'm not biased in any shape or form. I think it's Star Wars. And I think after that, there's a pretty big gap. But anybody could fill in and say, Transformers, He-Man, G.I. Joe, Turtles. That can kind of come in, second in the toy world. I don't think anybody would argue that Star Wars is the most popular. Now, most likable, that's obviously subjectivity, but there are definitely more Star Wars collectors than there are like mask collectors or what have you, which is not shunning mask. It's just saying that it's just the reality of the situation, right? Oh, cool. Yeah, James. That's funny you say that, James. Well, there have been shows like that, like Toy Hunter with Jordan Hembrow, and that's been done. Not don't get me wrong, that'd be fun, and I'd love to do that. But I mean, yeah, I mean, I think that takes a lot of obviously thought and time, money, and all that stuff. And I definitely wouldn't be opposed to it, but it wouldn't be, I mean. I like what I do, but I'm kind of doing I'm kind of essentially doing some things like that, or I will be doing some things like that in the future. When I start traveling again, being able to hit up these places, I'm going to document it and film the most I can. Now, this is albeit, really manage your expectations as far as editing and video and all that stuff. That's my goal. Is to not because first of all, I look at things. Like maybe I want to parallel this to like an artist or a musician or something that maybe where you can understand. When I look at doing things like that, like I look at it first off, I come kind of backwards, and I guess it depends on what you're doing, but like a music standpoint or something, if you're like going to create something, you have to make yourself happy first, right? I mean, unfortunately, that doesn't work the way all the time with business. But from an artistic standpoint, you have to do it what you're digging, right? I mean, who wants to do something they don't want to do? in an expression way, whether it be for business or not. So I really going to try to do some of that stuff and document that stuff, and maybe in my own kind of way or spin or whatever, and put it up online. So, it takes a lot of time though, a lot of work, editing, all that stuff. It's just, it's only 24 hours a day, right? If you're, so, but yes, I enjoy stuff like that. And let's not forget that a lot of stuff on television is kind of fake. They have to make it, reasonably, realistic for the general public, which, let's face it, reality TV is not reality TV. It's far from reality. It's staged and everything else. So, but life is kind of boring, right? Nobody wants to see the life of, me going to the post office every day, or me driving down the road 500 miles and not getting anything. But that's the reality. That's kind of the way it works. So, anyway, let's see. That's cool, Tony, on the big screen. Yeah, like he's saying. Let me get back to that. A lot of people will shoot their YouTube app on the big screen, which is super cool because YouTube's in 1080p. Facebook is only 720. So if you have a good monitor or what have you, you're obviously, regardless, unless you're using an older television, are going to have a better experience viewing. And like I said, that's never been about me. It's just been about the product. I want people to be able to see it, and that way they're able to have a better understanding of what I'm looking at, because it helps them out too. So there you have it. Ever host a sale from a live place? But I've contemplated doing that. The only reason I haven't done it is a lot of collectors on the fence about that. Some people are like, okay, yeah, sure. Some people are like, no, they don't want to do it. So I don't want to. If I'm going out to look at a deal or something, or a collection, it's like I don't want anything to change a situation to where somebody, it's not all of a sudden red flags go up and all this other stuff. Some people are like that, right? So it's situational. If it was somebody that I knew, and I knew, how their mannerisms were, and I could feel them out for it, like, hey man, it's up to you. You want to do this. It's just kind of, by not knowing somebody, it's a little bit kind of, I wouldn't say intrusive, but a little bit, whatever word you want to use there, kind of like uncomfortable maybe for some people. It wouldn't be comfortable for me as long as they were cool with it. But I would certainly entertain it if somebody wanted to do that. It's good for everybody, and I like that because there's some really nice stuff. There's some really nice collections out there that nobody ever sees, and that I've seen, and it's just like it'd be fun to share that. Okay, Mick and Brian, to answer your question, I'm on YouTube, Instagram, and Facebook is how I multi-stream. Could obviously stream to more outlets, but there's just not a whole lot that makes sense in this type of platform. So there you have it. Brian, Mr. Santan, I believe that's correct. Thank you for streaming to YouTube. I have a chance at winning items again. Right, and that's been a big thing for a lot of people that don't understand the YouTube experience as far as the sales. Night and day. So like I said, I'm not going to continue to push people over to YouTube, but I'm going to continue to push people over to YouTube because it's just so much easier. Now, it does create problems for us. I should say problems, problems is not a good word. I would say it creates a different kind of a situation sometimes, but we're willing to take on that whatever you want to call it, that extra obstacle, just because it's just I'm always about what's best for the customer, always in the situation of what we're doing, right? Because what's best for them is best for me. let's just be honest. If I was just not caring about what I was doing, and came out here in a bathrobe and smoking pot or whatever, which is nothing wrong with that. I'm just like, it looks kind of right? So there's nothing, like I said, I'm not knocking anybody for doing that because I've never seen anybody do that. I'm just making an example. But I'm trying to give you guys the best experience I can, and that costs money and time and all that stuff too. But who cares? I'm always looking to do the best I can with what I've got. And I've had a lot of people approach me over the years, and like the last couple of years, like, oh, let me see your setup, and I will gladly tell people what exactly. Then they figure how much it costs, and they're like, holy crap, yeah, it's a lot of time, a lot of money, and then the learning curve on top of that. You have to learn how to use video editing software, which I didn't know how to use. Excuse me, broadcasting software, which I didn't know how to use. So there's a learning curve there, and I'm doing it all myself. My wife does help me out with shipping, obviously, and claims, but as far as the production end of it, that's all me. There is no other person flipping things. So I've got to multitask and produce. I'm like my own producer. It's kind of weird, but it's still fun though. I mean, I wouldn't do it if I didn't like it. So that's kind of the deal. It's anything, like I said, anything. Somebody made a good post the other day. I'm in a lot of groups with a lot of business owners. And people always get the question that they always think that they're going to take their business online, and then overnight they're just going to take off. And unfortunately, it doesn't work that way in the real world. Some people do get lucky, and have a niche, and it catches fire. And we kind of had a little bit of that back 3 years ago. We started doing this because we kind of got in on this in the ground level of when YouTube was, or excuse me, Facebook, when there was not a whole lot of live selling going on. It was just like personalities and, hey, checking in, and we're at the mall with their friends, but it wasn't really about the selling. And we kind of got in on that really at the bottom level, which now everybody is out there doing that, which is, I knew would happen anyway. But it's really hard to keep a customer base. It really is. I mean, and there's a lot of people that I know that sell stuff, and they sell great stuff and good prices, and it's just tough to get your market share out there, if you will, like your slice of the consumer pie. Is so fortunate that we have a lot of great customers and they enjoy it, because I enjoy it, and I would enjoy it regardless, as long as it was just unbelievably boring and it was not worth it, time wise or anything. So it's a lot of fun, and I think that's the first thing. You gotta have fun with it, right? If you're not having fun, if you're doing it just because you have to, and like I say, have to, if you're doing it because you're forcing yourself in a situation which you already don't want to do, then it's gonna show. I mean, I don't know anybody that's that good of an actor to be able to do it day in, day out and not like it. I mean, that's, you gotta like it, and you gotta like what you do. And I do like what I do. And we've had customers from the very beginning that are still with us, from almost 4 years ago online, which is a testament to them, man. I appreciate that. And we have new customers all day, so it's fun. I miss the days. Oh, that's the same thing. Sorry. The good thing about technology, in the world we live in, it's always getting better. So I find it challenging to stay on top of that. I do my best, I mean, adding cameras and all that stuff. It's fun, but I'm always looking for the next way of doing it. There may not be a next way. So I mean, I don't know. Yeah, I miss the days when I was able to gobble up all your stuff in your vendor sales. Yeah, I mean, that happens. It's a good problem to have when you have when you have certain items that you can't keep in, right? I mean, whether it be vintage, modern, it's a good problem to have, but it's a result of the situation. It's not as if you've got a warehouse full of it, if you will, and you're just like, you control the entire market on one item. That's kind of usually not what happens. But so it's like, yeah, wonderful, I just sold 21 back Boba Fett's, whatever it may be. Wish I had more. It's just, you hate to see it go, because but that's what you got to do. But you wish you had more, right? Just part of it. But that's the reason, right? There's a reason that people that happens, a supply and demand curve. How was your camper trip? I wish we could have met you for a beer. Denny, I was never in Arizona. I was in New Mexico, on the west side or east side of New Mexico, so I wasn't very far into New Mexico, if that's what you're referring to. Then my other trips I've taken with the bus have been to Florida twice, and on the way back we've stopped here and there or what have you. But I mean, the second time we came back, and then the day after we left, all the kind of the bottom dropped off. The stock market kind of not crashed, but whatever, because of all the all the COVID stuff and all that. So, which we didn't leave early by design. We left early because, or by intuition, divine intervention, or something like that. We left because it was just we were leaving, come back, and just so happened the next day it was like the beaches closed, everything. It was really weird. I was like, wow, but hey, it's what it is. But no, we plan on taking some more trips as soon as the which is starting to happen. As soon as businesses start opening back up on a kind of national scale, whether it be scaled down, as far as limiting people in, when that wheel starts turning again, if you will, and slowly starts, grinding away and getting some movement, we'll be back out there, man. That's we'll be doing it, and not because we have to. 'Cause I enjoy it. It's a lot of fun. So I mean, sitting around here all day is fun too, but. Just kind of like, need to get out, get some sunlight. Yeah. Let me go over here real fast. I'm trying to figure something out. So I think I don't know if I asked earlier, but is everybody starting to come out of the cave, if you will, or are you still staying at home? You kind of just seeing what the first wave of people do if they get, whatever. I don't know. I've kind of broke that. Not that I get into this whole health thing, but there's three groups of people out there that you kind of look at, and the first group is the one that's like, I'm staying home until I feel comfortable or whatever my state officials say, it's whatever. You have that. Then you have the group that is just like they're ready to go. And then you have the third kind of person who's just like, I don't care about groups 1 or 2. I'll make my own decision. And so, I mean, it's kind of like everybody's kind of just in these little factions of like thoughts, which is kind of interesting because it's kind of political too. But, I think it really depends. This is my opinion on where you live. If you're in New York or Chicago or a large metro area, obviously I would be way more cautious, in a metro area that size. If you're in a small town, if you live in a small population state and you're not around a lot of people, that definitely doesn't give you a free pass to go do what you want to do. But at the same time, I think your odds are significantly diminished. I think that's a statistical thing, not just my opinion, but people always argue about stats. Well, I got my stat from John Hopkins and I got mine from CDC or whatever. So who do you believe? But I think it all comes down to common sense there too. Use some common sense. But I really think it depends on, it's subjective to, it's like everything else, like subjective to the situation you're in. If you're living on a ranch in Montana and it's you and your wife and is it okay to go to get gas or go to the grocery store or whatever? I think you're probably okay, but watch something will happen because of that. Whatever. 66. Well, thanks for the invite. Busier in helping people I know, shopping stuff. See, that's the thing, like you said, help people out. And a lot of people have been doing that. They're helping their neighbors out, especially elderly or people that have, maybe worried about getting out and about. I mean, there's still a lot of scared people out there, and rightfully so to a certain degree, if you have conditions, if you're older, those type of things make you high risk. So, I mean, if I was in my 70s or 80s or what have you, I'd probably be a little bit gun shy too about going to Walmart. Let's be honest. But still, I've still been, sparingly going to places anyway. I mean, I don't get out of the stores a lot anyway. So nothing really changed in my world outside of the travel. That's really the only thing that really changes, as far as, impacting my stuff. Given the caliber of items you sell, what's your personal collection like? You know what? I have contemplated that for a long time, and I'm getting to that point, but I have the same issue that everybody has. I've got a decent amount of stuff, but it's not all displayed, and a lot of it's posters. So for those that don't know, what I kind of get into, or what and I shift on time to time, is movie-related stuff. Now, having said that, I don't have any, Star Wars props or anything like that. I wish I did, but that's just, that's a house right there for one, at least in my world, or wherever you may live. Those are hundreds of thousands of dollars. Fortunately, that's love to have those items, but they're just for most those are out of range. So I have movie posters. I love movie posters, vintage movie posters. So I've got quite a few of those that I've hung up. I've also got a few other kind of oddball items that I like here and there. So, I mean, my thing is like everybody else. Mine's always an evolution of where I'm at in my head. But I do like movie-related stuff. I like theater-related. I like retail-related, movie displays, toy displays. Yes, I do like those. I've had some of those. We're kind of in the same wheelhouse of a lot of those can be big time money, Star Wars stuff. So I kind of shy away from those because of the pricing points on them. But some of my posters are four figures too. So it's just kind of like it's you kind of pick your poison. So but yes, to answer your question, I need to do that, and I've thought about that, and I need to do a bus tour. I've been thinking about that too. I've had people ask me. Some people ask about that. Message me on the video. So I need to do those two things. It's just I'm the one who wants to do that. I want to do that stuff the way that I want to present it and do it the right way. In my in my head, I feel like I would be doing an injustice or didn't. I want to do it, and kind of showcase it the right way. So I've been doing some framing here and there, getting some frames done. And frames are, not always cheap, depending on what kind you get, but they can be expensive too. And getting it laid out and all that stuff. So, and I've also, like my man cave, if you want to call it that, has a lot of other stuff too. I've got like 4 guitars, a couple acoustics, electric, and a bass. But my point is, I got music stuff and monitors and recording stuff and microphones. So I've got all that too, kind of doubles as my collection room or whatever you want to call it, man cave. So, and that stuff is a little bit scattered about. I just don't like showing things if it's like a mess, because that's kind of defeats the purpose. But I mean, so it's just really just finding time to do that. But yes, I want to do that, not to like be like, oh, look at my stuff, but at the same time just to show it, because people. I think a lot of times people have the misconception. There's a lot of people like in my line of work that just are there just to do business and that's it, and that could be the case. But me, I collect different things, and I've always been a proponent of, if you're going to collect something, don't be a seller of the same stuff to a certain degree, because you'll always want to keep it, right? That's why I have very limited toy stuff, because I love toys, but I felt like if I was head into that stuff and collected it like heavy, that I would be in a bad conflict of interest. And so there you have it. But yes, I'm gonna do that, and the bus thing as well. Okay. Tony says, I do miss wandering around stores, but I'll live. Yeah, there's something about that. There's something about being able to just go to the mall and window shop or whatever, I mean, or just go for a walk, man. Like early mornings would be my thing. I haven't done it in a long time, but get some coffee and go to the mall and walk around inside, especially on a winter day when you can be inside. Just get a little bit of exercise and see people opening up their stores. There's something about that, there's something you can't put your finger on. It's kind of a lost art, the storefront these days. And even malls, there's not many malls left over, because they're just, everybody's going online, which is inevitable at some point, but yeah, I like that stuff. I like just looking, just seeing people in action, seeing how the system is working, from the, it's the supply chain. It's crazy, right? It's fun. And you got manufacturer, wholesaler, retailer, in level. I mean, and then you got your user down here, or your street level. You're just your consumer, right? So you got those, and there's obviously stages in between all that stuff. But it's fun to see that stuff working, because it's a movement that never stops, right? And what I do is like just the same thing extension, but it's online. Unfortunately, I don't have a storefront anymore, and like I talked about that earlier, but just the modern way of doing it, I guess. I don't know, maybe. Okay. Denny Palace's question: why is the prices so similar between loose complete figures and metal card greater? Now, I don't think loose complete is near comparable, but the prices always seem to be. Now, I think that's a different. That's obviously situational to the item, right? For instance, a 12-back Luke Skywalker, okay, on card. I'm just going to throw out a price here. A decent one's probably between, like an 80 grade between $1,500 and $2,000, if not a little bit more, in that range. It could just it's any given day. I'm just going to say that price. Say $2,000 just for the sake, because it's a round number. A loose complete one, $100 ish, depending on condition. Obviously, graded loose more. There is an example of something that is obviously a clear difference between loose figure and carded, because of obviously what the difference is there. And the character is what really drives that, right? Usually it's about the character and when it was on the card. Now skip forward. Same card for Luke Skywalker on Return of the Jedi card. They call it the Gunner card or whatever, $500 to $1,000, something like that. I don't know. Obviously a little bit less because it wasn't a debut figure, but it's still Luke Skywalker. Okay, now let's talk about something totally different. Let's talk about a Bib Fortuna, right? Loose, complete Bib Fortuna, $15-$20, something like that, just throwing out a number. Now, on card Bib Fortuna, you would have, let's say, Return of the Jedi, just your common yellow bubble, maybe has some condition issues. There's a lot of those out there, right? Anywhere between $50 and $100, depending on the shape. If it's clear, obviously more, but I'm just going to say, if it's probably $70, something like that, maybe a little more, 80, 100, I don't know. Just, but so you're a lot closer there in price because it's Return of the Jedi, right? But it's a Bib Fortuna, and Bib Fortuna, or a Zuckuss or what have you. I mean, I say Zuckuss, Rees, whatever, characters that are not as in demand as the other. So that's the clear difference that I see. Loose graded always costs more because it costs to grade, and then people are interested in certain grades, right? So the higher the grade, the more it usually fetches. I mean, that's kind of usually the general thinking there. So I hope that clears that up a little bit. Of the 140 range, so I mean, it's really subjective to the figure, right? I mean, that's what I said, figure, and when it was what card was out there. But yes, I see it to the outside looking in. It's weird saying, well, man, this loose figure is complete. For a good example, maybe a Last 17 Ewok, right? A Ramba or something like that. They come in because they're loose, or Last 17. The weapons are kind of scarce, hard to get a hold of. So you have those. And then you have a carded one that's kind of in decent shape, maybe like a $50 difference or something. And at that point, it's just like. But then you also have loose collectors versus. A lot of people would rather spend money on loose stuff than carded stuff. Not because it's necessarily cheaper, because it is, but people like looking and touching and feeling, and the carded stuff is great. But they know that if they're going to get into carded stuff on any kind of scale, it's going to cost more money and take some wall space, and it can fall off the bubble and all this other stuff that goes into it, right? I think it just depends on the collector. Graded Leia versus mid on card Leia. Well, here we go again. Like Last 17 or Return of the Jedi Leia. Probably not a huge price difference right there, depending upon which Leia. If it was Combat Poncho Leia, obviously, or Bausch, not a huge difference. If it was Leia Organa, those can always go for some more money. What's up, Don Barber? So I see the question, and yes, I think it's, like I said, dependent upon the figure and the card it's on, and also the condition of the card. Obviously, a 90 grade carded figure is not going to sell anywhere close to a loose complete figure or a loose graded figure because of the grade is so high. Now that there could be some outliers. I mean, obviously, any day can. That's why I say in this kind of stuff, it's a subjective thing. And the supply-demand curve is different for every situation. It really, I should say different. It still applies in every situation, but it's different for everybody. Akin to, like, for instance, I use a great analogy here. I'm not pumping my own thing here, but I think it's a great analogy. You have Walmart, right? Everybody thinks, pretty much outside of a Dollar Tree or something like that, Walmart's kind of like, your place to go buy stuff that is, probably the cheapest that you're going to get for what they're selling. And they've done that by design because they have contracts with all these, big, Johnson & Johnson, all these huge corporations that make stuff, and they agree to sell it retail it at the lowest price out there until it goes to like a Dollar Tree or something like that, and that's a whole different ballgame. So then you have a Target. So look at Walmart. You go into Walmart, it's clean, all this, nothing wrong with Walmart. I go Walmart all the time. You go into Walmart, but then you go to Target, which is usually down the road or whatever, and you look at the same item and their prices usually are a little bit higher, 10 to 15%, I would guess, just on average for the same thing. And the question people it has is, well, why is Target more expensive? But you go into Target and look at Target's layouts and the amount of money they put into there, and they have Starbucks inside. All these things cost more overhead wise and cost more. So, and then also the demographic that goes to Target is usually different than that goes to Walmart. Not by a whole lot, I would think, but I would say as a whole, I don't think I'm incorrect. The average medium income of somebody that goes to Target all the time versus Walmart's a little bit higher. So it's the same thing with markets across everything. It's like, you know, it's not really about the item a lot of times, and like the fact that Walmart has it cheap. It's about that some people prefer to shop somewhere else, and they don't, and it's justifiable to them, or they just like Target. I mean, I like them both, but it's just the choices are out there, you know. Right. See, there you go. My EV will never sell, but if I crack the case and rip the card off, instant 150 easy. Yeah, exactly. You know, I love the Power. One of my favorite lines is Power of the Force. Last 17. I like the card art, and I like the figures are really, really good. It's just unfortunate they were kind of on the downside of when Star Wars was going out when they're making some really good stuff, right? Sculpts and what have you. So they're really cool. But so you know, also about the markets and stuff like that. So that's a good way of kind of, in my opinion, you know, you just different choices, and you know that's how that works. You know, usually, end of the day, it's just like supply and demand, regardless of where it's at, whether it's here, whether it's China. I said China. Oh, whatever. It doesn't matter. Mario. Yeah, that's funny. But yeah, once again, it'll be a good sale tonight. We've got some new items, some brand new modern stuff in today. We also have some new vintage that came in as well. We have a lot more vintage coming over the next week, so stand by on that. And I got some cool stuff tonight. It'll be another 20 items ish sale. Like I said, everybody has different ways of doing things. I love keeping it short and sweet, and actually focusing in on some different stuff, and not necessarily like a mass type of thing. Because I don't have the time to be up here for that long, and the shipping on the back end would just take me forever. So I try to get a sweet spot, select about 20 items that you guys hopefully will like, something different. I try to, I really enjoy going out and finding different stuff because it makes my job easier. Because it's like, man, how many Klaatu's can we have? Nothing wrong with Klaatu. It's just, whatever. So we got some new vintage that came in. We've got some last 17, by the way. We've got some like a loose graded piece. I've got some new stuff. Man, I got some cool stuff. You'll enjoy it. It'd be nice. It'd be a sweet, short and sweet sale, but it'd be something for everybody. Modern, vintage, graded, non-graded. Yeah, it'd be fun. It'd be a lot of fun. Well, thank you. Oh goodness, Denny. You're gonna start something. No, I'm just kidding. I think a lot of that stuff. Denny said, Kung Flu or whatever. I get it. Some people really take offense to it. I think it's funny as hell. Not to endorse the person who's originally said it or anything, because that's not what I'm doing. But my point is that I just thought it was hilarious. I mean, I think if you can't laugh at that kind of stuff, even if you like or dislike the messenger, you're just kind of wound way too tight, But whatever, that's my opinion. Glad I didn't miss the sale yesterday. Friday night beer and Star Wars tours. Thank you, Christy. I appreciate that. It'd be a good time. It'd be a good time. Always fun. So thank you, Tony, for chiming in. Mike McGilly says, any vintage posters tonight? Yeah, I can probably sneak one in there, here and there. If I can, yeah, I can do that. Yeah, I have to make a note of that too. I can do. Yeah, I think I can fit one in. I have to find one. I'm always looking for that stuff too. Anything like poster stuff, because A, I collect them, and B, if I have an upgrade, I'll take it in and sell the one that I had before. Just like kind of the old, kind of thing. So if I've got some, I will. And I'm working on another poster. I've got a few irons in the fire out there. I've got like a couple of collections that I'm looking at. One of them's huge. One of them's pretty good. I said not good. I mean, I'm talking about quantity. And then one of them is decent quantity as well. Then some poster collections. I've got a couple people hit me up about those too. So that they've got some really cool rolled stuff. Some medium stuff. Not heavy duty, heavy hitter like $5,000 posters. But my point is some nice stuff. Different movies, some Star Wars stuff, some non-Star Wars, but all retro 80s, 70s. So we'll see about that. Yeah, me either. And that's exactly how I do that too. I like them with a bit of patina. That's how I do them too, man. So like for instance, I don't have. Well, yeah, I've got one right here. So this happens to be a daybill poster. For those that don't know what daybills are, they're more like this size, but I'll show it to you what it is because I just found this one. This is mine. I collect like horror posters, some horror posters like and sci-fi movies and things like that, but also 70s and 80s. So this is a daybill poster for Poltergeist. They're here. But to speak to what Denny was saying, I don't mind the patina, like the little bit of yellowing that happens from the and there's a little bit of some spotting over here, if you will. I mean, it's an overall displayable condition, and that's what I really go for. My thing has never been about like, I love to have them nice, but I'm just not gonna. The premium for some of that stuff is like akin to paying a 90 grade for a loose, whatever or carded figure. It's just really nice, but beyond what I look for. And I'm not knocking anybody that does look for that stuff because I think it's awesome. It's just I prefer to have a lot of kind of medium grade stuff versus like one or two nice items if you're there. So that's cool. It's just one of the examples there of some of the things that I kind of get into, which I don't have a frame for this one yet. So, who does poster grading? Now, I don't know that anybody necessarily does poster grading, I've never looked into it. Now, there's poster authentication and things like that, which usually you can kind of do that on your own. Now, grading companies, like grading, I don't know that if you said that to CAS that they would grade it. They'll encase anything, but usually with posters and stuff, you have to have an entity that really knows a lot about them to grade them. And I'm not saying that they don't, but that can get really tough because you're looking at minute things. But you could probably find somebody if you just Googled it. I hate to say just go Google it because I just don't know. But there may be, but I know people authenticate them and they'll frame them. And that may be something different, because grading requires, something of a generally speaking, what I look at when I say grading, you need a pristine example of something to go off of as like, okay, this is like something that I'm looking at that like qualifies this as being a perfect example. So then you look at that, comparing it to your example, and then you take off, points off of that $100 grade to then reflect what the overall presentation is. And I think that's the logic. I may be incorrect. I don't know. But it seems to seem reasonable. Oh, that's cool, man. Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Those Hillebrand posters. Those are cool. I'm always looking for specific posters out there. Some half sheets here and there that I need to find to complete a little run I'm doing. And you never know. So I'm always looking out for that stuff. Yeah. There's been some really cool stuff going on for sale lately in various outlets here and there. So, super cool. But yeah. But anyways, thought I'd chime in. Don't forget about the live sale tonight at 7 p.m. Central. We're doing it Friday night. Some cool stuff, some brand new stuff for you guys. Sure. If I had to guess, and the majority of this stuff is going to sell pretty quickly tonight, just because of what it is, and people are been asking about some of these items for a while, and some new vintage stuff as well. So it'll be a fun sale regardless. So join us tonight on YouTube or Facebook, preferably YouTube if you have a choice or want to make a decision. I would highly recommend that. And we will see you guys tonight. Until then, you guys have a great day, and have a nice Friday afternoon. See you then.